Okay, so our first hand here, we turn around and look down at pocket aces. Early mid position here. Early position makes it 15. We turn around and make it 40. We get two callers, the initial raiser and another caller. The flop comes out, Jack 9 deuce with two hearts. I turn around and bet 50 on the flop, and I get one caller, and the other gentleman folds. The turn was an offsuit four. I probably should have bet this, being as there was draws out there. Um, but I ended up playing it tricky for some reason, and the turn went check, check. And then the river came out another jack. And when it got checked to me again, I turned around and bet $100. I felt this was a good bet. I could get called by worse. I flip over my hand, and I am good with my aces and jacks. Not sure what the villain had, but I'm guessing he had something like a pair of nines and a lower pair than a jack. Didn't believe me that I had trips. I didn't expect him to. It's a value bet, and we'll move on from there. Now, literally the next hand, I wake up with Jack of Spades, Nine of Spades. Now, what had happened is Dave, right immediately to my right here, he went and raised to $15 under the gun. I had called. That's a decent hand. And we got a number of colors. It was actually three ways where we had the button turn around and, excuse me, the small blind had called as well. So it's three ways. I'm out of position to the other two gentlemen. So the flop came out Jack 8 deuce with two hearts and a spade. The original pre-flop raiser bet $30. I called, and the big blind check called. Okay, nothing exciting there. The turn was the three of spades, giving me a backdoor flush draw. The under the gun bets full pot here. I believe it was about $110, $120. He bet full pot, and he was short, so this is for the remaining of his chips. I had to do some thinking about this because, oh, am I getting really the right price? I know the big blind's behind. He's got more money behind. The thing is here, I put him on a strong hand. He could possibly have an overpair actually. But if he does have an overpair, I have a pair in the flush draw. I have another guy in there. It was close. I mean, a pair in the flush draw, nine, 13 outs or so. And then with the other guy in there, I thought it was close. But plus, I thought, let's see what happens. I can maybe make more money on the river with the other guy. So it was a speculative close call. The river was a 10 of spades. Bing! And by the way, when I called the 110, the gentleman behind called the 110 as well. So I'd like to see that. I was getting definitely a good price with him calling as well. The river again was the 10 of spades. The big blind then went ahead and donked all in right into me, which I was kind of surprised. He didn't have a whole lot left. He only had a little over 100. Again, pay attention to stack sizes, guys. I got to get better about this. You just should really know what people's stack sizes are so you know if you're getting the right implied odds. But anyway, I obviously snap called. If he's got a better flush, so be it. And as it turns out, I flip it over and boom, he actually had a lower flush. He actually had I had the Jack X of spades. He had the 7-8 of spades. So he had a pair in his flush draw as well. I just ended up rivering a higher flush. And then unfortunately, Dave, he ended up having pocket kings, he told me. So we get the pot chipped over to us. But just kind of a bad beat there for Dave, where both of his opponents ended up hitting the flush. And we both had a pair and a flush draw. And I ended up hitting the higher flush. So kind of a cooler for Dave there, but a nice little run good hand for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed my first two hands. I had one more hand this last session, which I thought was real interesting. I did not record it, but I wanted to go through it with you guys and see what you all thought. I had Queen of Hearts, excuse me, Queen of Diamonds, Jack of Hearts. The hijack raised to 15. I called. The small blind called. So we're three ways to the flop. The flop comes 9 of diamonds, 8 of clubs, 3 of spades. Okay. So I have 2 overs and a gut shot. The hijack bet's really small. I decided to call. He bet only 15.
And then the small blind called. So 2 overs in a gutter, I'm going to call there. I thought it was 15 or 20 he bet. The turn was the jack of clubs. The small blind led into the 2 others for $60, which was a full pot size bet. The hijack called, and now that I picked up top pair, I'm thinking I could have the best hand here. I don't really want to fold at this point. Their backdoor clubs did come in. Someone could be betting a draw. My top pair could be good. I'm going to call here and see what happens in position. The river was the 8 of clubs. So now there's a one-liner to a straight out there. Excuse me, not the 8 of clubs, the 7 of clubs. I wrote that down wrong. It was a 7 of clubs. So 7, 8, 9, jack was out there. And so there's any 10 makes a straight, and there's backdoor clubs. And the interesting thing is the small blind again led for the same $60, a smaller bet. And I'm thinking, okay, if he had a real strong hand, why would he bet only $60? I felt like he would really bet bigger if he had a straight or a flush, right? So when it came around to me, he bet 60 into what was it, 240? I mean, that's such a small bet. So it came around to me and I had about 250 behind. So I jammed all in. I figure I don't have the best hand. I could have just called $60 just to because I'm getting such a good price. But I felt like, boy, it just seemed like a board the villain does not like, right? Any 10 makes a straight, any club, any 2 clubs make a flush. There's a straight out there, there's a one liner to a straight, there's a flush out there. And because of his bet sizing, I didn't think he was very strong. So I jammed all in as a bluff. I basically turned my top pair into a bluff. And I liked my play in hindsight, even though the villain tanked forever and I thought he was going to fold. And he eventually called and he had the 9 of clubs, 3 of clubs. So he had top pair on the board and he backed into a flush. Apparently, when he ended up with a pair of 9s and a flush draw, he decided to lead, which is unusual, into 2 people. I guess trying to take it down, having the backdoor flush draw. And then for some reason, he bet really small on the river, which is unusual because sometimes I've noticed that people don't understand bet sizing. They don't understand how much is in the pot. Once you're a new player, a lot of new players will turn around and see just a clump of chips in there and they'll bet, oh, I don't know how much is in there. About 150, I'll bet 60, 120. I don't know. They don't keep track in the back of their mind, which you always should do, how big the pot is. So they don't realize they're betting really small. Guessing that was the case with this guy because it just made no sense for him to bet so small. And then he tanked forever and he almost folded a flush, which is crazy. Um, so the bluff didn't work, but I liked it. I thought it was a good move, even though it didn't work. I definitely didn't expect him to have the 9x of clubs. And just curious what y'all think. So leave a comment below on what you think I should have done if I played it if I should have played it any differently, or what you thought of how the villain played it. So that was the last hand. I hope you guys enjoyed these. They'll get better as we go along, and we'll go from there. All right. Talk to y'all later.